What's up, everybody? Bill Tendo here, and I decided to start showing you guys some of the things that I see on a regular basis, but you may not because they're far more uncommon and sometimes just downright rare. So today, the first thing I'm going to show you is a Nintendo 64. I import a lot of things from Japan. I have a great love for the Japanese gaming culture. The way the Japanese behave when it comes to video games are completely different than us Americans. Just a brief explanation of that is when I, as an American, own something, I have this mentality that this is mine and I'll do whatever I want with it. And I find that most Americans feel the same way. If you want to treat something kindly, that's your right. And if you want to just destroy it, again, that's your right because you own this item. That is yours. That is mine. I'll do what I want with it. And in the culture of Japan, they don't have a lot of storage room. Homes are generally much smaller than they are here in the United States. So owning things like video games are generally considered quite transitory. There's a really big trade-in, trade-out culture around video games and a lot of other things in Japan. So whereas we own something, this is mine, the Japanese culture temporarily owns something. It's more of a... I don't know the word for it off the tip of my tongue. It's sticking, and I apologize. It's transitory. I own this for now, a conservatorship. So I bought this game, this is mine, and I'm going to keep it very nice for the next owner because that's the respectful thing to do. Whereas Americans, we don't really think like that. We own something, that's mine. And the Japanese culture has a difference, whereas I own this, but I won't own it forever, and I would like to pass it on in as nice a condition as possible. So I really enjoy that because I've bought things from Japan that said it was damaged or dirty, and when I got it, it was cleaner than any American version I've ever received. So it's really interesting the way they do things in comparison to the way we do things, and I've spent years paying attention to these societal differences, and they endlessly fascinate me. But what we're talking about today is going to be the Die-Hawks Nintendo 64. Now, that's not the official name of it. The official name is the Die. Now, this is what it is here. We'll go over it real quick. So what you have is a clear orange top. Now, on this clear orange top, America got the Fantastic Fire orange. This is a different orange. If you look closely, you can see swirling. When you leave these out in the sunlight coming in through a window, it tends to cloud up a little bit. The UV lights do affect it. We call that marbling. But so this is a slightly different orange than the American Fantastic Fire orange. But to me, the really interesting part of this is the bottom, whereas it looks black here. It's definitely blacker than our regular black console, but it's translucent. You can see through it. It's kind of hard to do that on this camera, but it is a transparent black. You can kind of see through it. Okay, so it's not the same color as the smoke black. The smoke black is actually more translucent and lighter. So it's very cool. It's super obvious on the controller, which I don't have sitting right here. The reason these are called the Die-Hawks is because the Die-Hawks was also the name of a minor league baseball team in Japan, extremely popular, and their colors were also orange and black. So most people refer to this console as the Die-Hawks, although its name is actually just the Die, which is, I believe, spelled D-A-I-E-I. I'm not the best with spelling. There were less than 5,000 of these made. It is just as rare as the Jusco, which is black on top and ice white on bottom, but the black is a clear black. Closer to matching this than the smoke black. It's not exactly the same, but it's just interesting little thing. And this is actually my favorite Nintendo 64 console. I love the orange and black. I think that's phenomenal. At one time, I had a whole orange and black setup like no one's ever seen. I had all of my handhelds, custom shells that were clear orange and black. You know, I had my Fantastic Fire Orange with all 4 controllers. And then I switched that over to a Diehawks. And then eventually I'm like, what do I have all this stuff for? I don't need this much of something. And I actually sold it off as a set, mind you. And I had upgraded all of those handhelds. My buddy Beans does mod work, and I had him busy for a year. Like, the GBA had a rechargeable battery. It had a new shell. It had new buttons. It had a backlit IPS screen, and that thing looked better than the DS did. And we did pretty much stuff like that with all of the handhelds I had. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Diehawks. Now, these only did play Japanese games, but American and Japanese games on a Nintendo 64 is really easy to overcome because there's 2 little prongs in here that determine where the game is going to sit. American games have slots in one space and Japanese games in another. So all of my Nintendo 64s, no matter where they come from, America or Japan, I changed that plastic tray out. That way the game, both Japanese and American games will play in all of my consoles and all of the ones that I sell. That way I like to give people options. I mean, you don't need to read Japanese to play Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo 64, and instead of paying $50 for an American version, you can get the Japanese version for $15. That's just, you know, sometimes people just want to play games, and you can get OEM games at a much cheaper price a lot of times. But, yeah, Diehawks. Really cool console. You should check them out.